Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Tommy, and today I'm joined by my lovely co host, Angel.
Hello.
We are back once again covering Guiding Light. This week, we are only covering 3 episodes because we suspect it was March Madness, or OJ, because it was 1995. So I roll the credits and we'll get right into it. So as far as their opening credits, I think I found a trick of knowing which one it's going to be. Because they've tricked me quite a few times because they'll do like the lighthouse and then they'll start to scroll. I've noticed if I don't see the people in the letters, that means it's the short one. Yeah, because I can't tell with the music. I know you're good at that.
Yeah, I can tell the music. I can just there's a clip. It
Like an
sounds like
edit.
a clip, and then it's weird. It's weird.
So I guess the smallest thing that we can get out of the way is Matt's one other thing that he loves outside of his relationship is apparently martial arts. And Vanessa's watching him do what he loves. And it becomes this weird martial arts ballet mashup montage thing. And I was like, what am I watching?
What am I watching?
It was like this weird, like, martial arts battle / dance routine. Because she was doing
Honestly,
that.
I thought they were gonna make love or have sex. It was like when they both did it, I was like,
I feel like mostly she, like, he would do some like kicks and twirls and stuff, like martial arts moves, and then she would just like start spinning like a ballerina and land in like a martial arts like pose. So yeah, I didn't think about that, but I could have seen that turning into a love scene somehow.
Yeah.
Like he would like punch and kick, and then he would take her and kind of twirl her. And I was like, all right, I get it. You're in love.
Yeah, you're in love. Which is interesting because like when we were the Asworld episode's coming up soon. They had Casey and Lila, which started out the same way. Casey is a younger man and Lila is an older woman.
Oh, okay.
And they had the same obstacles and stuff like that. So
did they have the same, like, everybody was against it at first or shocked? And then they kind of
we're early into it, so it is like mostly their family being like, oh, like, well, Margot isn't against it because she's like, it's like mom's been our mom for years, like, come on, like, let her have her fun. And not Casey, Craig is like, no, he's younger than me, like, stop this.
Yeah, I would have a problem with that, I think, if they were younger than me. Close in age, I'd be like,
Yeah, because he's
but,
like Casey's in college, like a resident in the hospital, so
oh,
he
all
would be
right.
in like his early to mid 20s, whereas Matt seems to be like maybe late 20s, early 30s. I don't know. I feel like Bridget's younger than Matt.
Yeah, definitely. We didn't really see
Yeah.
much of her. We saw her more towards the end of the week. But we'll get to that later. We didn't see Josh and Annie in these 3 episodes.
No.
Which I thought we might see Annie because we were at the hospital a few times, but we didn't. I guess we
What
talk
about
about
Buzz? We can talk about Buzz because that was a small thing too, a very small thing.
yeah, so the episode was so pixelated, I couldn't even tell that was Buzz at first. I assumed it was Buzz because it looked like it was the back of a restaurant. And he's like looking at the personal ads, and Lucy catches him, right? Because he's reading them out loud. He had a line though, I can't remember what it was. It was like overweight, balding man over 40 or something like that, like saying what he is. He was like, is there anything for an overweight, balding man over 40? Like with yeah, Lucy kind of picks fun at him because I feel like she thinks people made fun of her for doing it. Yeah, that was fun. That was a good scene. Nadine. Oh, and Nadine. That's another small thing.
And Nadine,
Nadine.
yeah.
Nadine's out on a date with the guy whose name I can never remember.
Oh man, and it was at the tip of my memory too, but
I always want to call him Cutter, but I know it's not Cutter.
I cut her note. Colt, no. Oh my gosh, because I think it begins with a C too.
Does it? Were
Yeah.
they on a double date, or did they just kind of happen upon this other couple and they just decided to
I
like?
wonder. I have no. I don't know. I don't even know where this couple came from. I think they might
I
have
didn't
been
even
on a
know who.
double
I didn't
date.
even know if this couple was like actual characters or just like day players. But they were
Mhm.
all over each other. Almost to the point of grossing Nadine and her.
Yeah. Hmm.
But I like Nadine. She's like comic relief.
Harold is his name. I don't know. Something
We'll have to
weird.
like, I'll have to look it up before
Yeah.
next time, or really
Yeah.
listen.
I'll look
Oh, I did take one note because I always do this kind of like off the cuff, but I did take one note because I wanted to remember this detail. Remember last time I was like, Alan Michael's been in the position for like 2 months and now his father wants it back. They specifically said he's been in the position for 3 weeks.
Oh wow.
It's 2 months our time, but it's only been 3 weeks. So that's even
Wow.
worse.
That's worse.
I'm like, can you give the guy a chance to get settled before you take it back from him? Oh, so I really love Alexandra
Me too.
because she's not what I thought she would be, and I don't know if this is just Marge Ducey's interpretation of the character. She's very comical, and she kind of naturally just like blends in with people lower class than her, and I never
Hmm.
thought that was the character. I thought she'd be like the snooty, like
Hmm.
socialite who doesn't interact with anybody below her, but
Hmm.
she's so like enamored with Fletcher, um obsessed with Fletcher, one would say. um so she pulls up in the limo. It's Ben, and
Hmm.
I really like this scene. She was like really sweet to him. She tells him like she
Hmm.
missed him even though she has ulterior motives for this conversation, but I believe that she missed him because like he used to live at her house
Hmm.
against her father's will. I don't know. Like I feel like it's implied that he was like held captive there. um but she like offers for him to like use the pool in the summertime and he could bring his friends over, and I'm just like, oh, that's really nice. That's like not how
Yeah.
I would imagine this character to be.
Hmm.
But also because my brain does these things, I had this memory that Marge Ducey actually was a temp recast for Vivian Alamine on Days.
She was.
Yes. So I knew it wasn't long. I just remember seeing her, and it was from like the end of December to like maybe the first week of January. So end of December 92 to like first week of January 93. It was only 5 episodes. So
Hmm.
then my brain did this. I couldn't remember if it said due to illness, but I know that Santa Barbara ended in January of 93. I wonder, because I don't know, if Louis Sorel went back to Santa Barbara for the ending, and that's why she couldn't be on Days for those 5 episodes.
Oh, I'm trying to remember
I
because I
don't know
did
if that's
see the
like a
final
known thing or
episode.
not. But I
I did
figured,
see
I
the
was like,
final. I'm
oh,
trying to remember if she was on there. I don't think she. Maybe she was. I don't
I know she like went
remember
back
who was
and
dancing
forth.
under the arch. Yeah, I was trying to remember who was dancing under the arch, and did I see her there? I don't know.
There's a what? What's dancing under what arch?
So, like in the final scene of Santa Barbara, there's a wedding between BJ and Warren Lockridge,
Okay.
and they did a toast and then they dance and then there's like an arch, like there's an arch, like because like in the opening credits of Santa Barbara,
Oh yeah, yeah.
it's there are arches in Santa Barbara, so they
Hmm.
basically dance under an arch, like they kind of spit not under an arch, but like next to an arch, and they
Oh,
were
okay.
spinning and stuff like that. And I'm trying to remember who were all the people there. I know Eileen Davison was there because she was a
Kelly.
recast for Kelly.
Hmm.
I know Janice Page, Theo Penglass.
I just found out that
She
Teo was on there, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, he was on there. Yeah,
Because I knew GH, and Days, but I was like, I didn't
he
think
was
he
on there.
did any
Yeah.
other daytime shows.
Because this is when they got like they tried to like make it like a
Yeah, I know that
big like
Kim Zimmer went there, which
Kim
shocked me
Zimmer was on
also.
there. Yeah, yeah.
um,
That's why she left Guiding Light, I think,
yeah,
or one of the reasons why she left Guiding Light,
right.
allegedly.
Yeah, that's just what my brain did. The whole March You Say took me to days, then made me think about Santa Barbara. It was like this whole rabbit hole. I
Right,
spiraled.
back to Guiding Light.
But she finds out from Ben, Alexandra finds out from Ben, that there was a woman that came to see his father when they were fishing, ice fishing, and so she wants all the details. And his friend tries to get him to like come off, like run off, and she's like, no, 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 wait. And she gets confirmation that it was Holly,
Holly.
and that she didn't stay the night. He like that her father like made her leave, so she's happy about that.
Yeah.
I guess we could talk about this too, because it was another scene that made me think, oh, Alexandra's not who like how I thought she was. So she's good friends with Lillian, like they're best friends.
Yes.
I didn't know that. And I thought Lillian was a
You know
doctor,
what?
but she had a line saying that she's a nurse.
I feel like I knew that, but it didn't really, come up with me until today.
Yeah. So Lillian had breast cancer at some point.
During the affair with Ed, between Ed and Lillian, where Maureen died.
Okay.
Yeah, so during that storyline.
So she's been putting off a checkup to make sure everything's still okay, like a mammogram, like an annual mammogram. And I didn't get this because, like, I feel like if you were a survivor, you'd want to get checked to make sure that you're okay. I mean, I guess I could understand the fear of like finding out that you have it again, but like, the longer you wait, the more it's going to progress.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I've never been in that position. I don't know how I would react to something like that, but I can understand both sides, I guess. But like, I don't know. She doesn't want to have the checkup. She keeps putting it off. They even are like, "Oh, we could do it in 10 minutes," and she's like, "Oh, no, I don't have time."
There's a thing at the hospital. I have to do. Oh, you're in the hospital. You can go get the checkup.
Right.
Yeah, and it was Margaret Cedric that said it. That was like her doctor. So who I think is actually an advisor for the show.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I think she might be. I think the doctor that was talking to Lily, I think she's a medical advisor for the show.
Oh, okay.
And has been there for years. I could be wrong though.
So we picked up with Blake and Dinah kind of having a little showdown over the $900 phone bill.
Yep.
And it basically culminates with Dinah being like, "You need to get out of here. Like, you're not welcome here. Like, pack your shit and get out." And Dinah kind of pushes back with like, "We'll see what my father has to say about this." And when Ross comes home and she tells him what happened, Dinah was right. He's like worried about her. He doesn't know where she is. He basically tells Blake she's gonna reverse her decision and ask her to stay. So Blake ends up calling Roger to vent because she said something like, "I need to like talk to somebody that still thinks of me as their number one girl," or something like that. And she thanks him for letting her vent. And when they hang up, we pull away and we see that Dinah's sitting at the table with him. And I'm like, "Oh, she got someone first."
Yep, and that's like her opening. That's like her closing credits shot later on the closing credits, like where she smiles with Roger.
I have mixed emotions about this because I don't want them together romantically, but I don't hate them being in each other's circle. I like how they play off of each other. Yeah. So
just the messiness of it, of Dinah and Roger being together. Just think about that. Like,
yeah. I guess they stayed out all night because she didn't come home. And
yeah,
Ross
they went to Chicago.
Oh, okay. So Ross is like
because she was
concerned.
in the limo.
Ross is concerned, and then we had the limo scene, and Roger parked like 2 blocks away, and Dinah says he was a perfect gentleman all night, and she's kind of like coming on to him, and she's like, "Oh, you have like an eyelash," and she makes him make a wish, and while he's like making his wish, she kisses him. She initiates the first kiss,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, I don't know if I like this. Um, so I don't know what she's trying to do. I don't know if she's trying to get under Blake's skin by doing this, or if she sees a rich older man and she sees this as
I
an
think a
opportunity to
combination.
get money out of him.
I think a combination of both.
Okay.
I also
So,
wonder if we don't know everything about the trust, and that if okay, not 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 saying that this will happen, but if she were to get married,
mhm,
would she get the trust?
mhm.
So I'm
Which,
wondering if she
which feels like
had
it might
spent
be
with him.
something because I feel like we've kind of hinted around a marriage.
Mhm.
Because you did say that her future husband was in the room at the
Yeah.
party. um, yeah. So she comes home and Ross is like, Blake has something she wants to say to you, and she's just like, she's like, fine, I want you to stay. Unpack your things. You're welcome here as long as you want. Um, and Dinah. So Ross goes away. He goes to work, and Blake is like, oh, I think I'm gonna stay home today. And then he's like, I don't know about these two being alone together. And Dinah's like, no, go ahead. It's fine. And Dinah like ingenuinely offers to pay for the $900 phone bill. I'm like, with what money?
With what
$900. Your
money?
father
Yeah.
only gave you 500. So essentially, you'd be paying her with your own money, with her own money. Like, um, so she calls her Chrissy, I think, which is what Roger calls her.
Yeah, Roger, because remember she was on the phone. So
Mhm.
she was on the phone with Roger when Dinah was there. So I think he did call her Chrissy.
Okay, so is Blake not her real first name?
No, her full name is Christina Blake Thorpe Marler.
Oh, okay.
So she goes by her middle name. She lived
Gotcha.
by her middle name when she returned to town, so that way people won't know that it was
Mm,
that this is Christina. And then of course you get the scene where like Holly's like Christina or
right.
Chrissy.
Kind of like what Days did with Teresa, with Jeannie.
Hmm.
Jeannie Teresa.
Yeah, Jeannie Teresa.
I like, well, they don't do it. They haven't done it, at least not to my knowledge. But back around 2013-ish, I liked how like her family members would still call her Jeannie, and she'd get all mad when we
Hmm.
would do that. Um, so yeah, so Dinah calls Blake Chrissy to kind of hint at her that she was with her father. I
Hmm.
think. I think that's what they were trying to get at with that.
Uh-huh.
um, so the paper was a mess. Fletcher quit, but he had
Wait, before
quit
we get to the
previously.
paper,
Yeah.
um, there's like I'm not sure if we're gonna loop this in with Alan Michael and them, but so Roger had like this day nightmare, I guess, with like
Mhm,
Ross and the country club guy and Alan
mhm.
like all in his face talking all kinds of noise. And then the guy at the country club said, we're gonna revoke your membership for the country club. He said no. It went back to reality.
Like that was the
Because
worst thing that could ever
all
happen
that
to him.
stuff, like all that stuff that they're talking, like, oh, Roger's not good, he's this, he's that, he's like less than. And then the one thing that gets him out of there is revoking his membership to the country.
Priorities.
Priorities. I
um,
mean, they should revoke his. I mean, look, there is clips of Roger always causing a scene at the country club.
is there?
At least two occasions that I know where he caused a scene at the country club, or where a scene is caused at the country club because of him. So
Well, the newspaper or the journalism awards, was that at the country club?
Yes. So
But he
that's
was
3.
ready to cause a scene. He was
3.
ready to blow up the
He
affair
did.
at
He
the
was ready
country
to cause a scene.
club.
That's 3. There was like one with Holly that involved Holly. One that involved Alexandra, and then there was the awards. Those journalism awards.
Yeah, that's like his. I guess that's like his favorite spot to like cause a scene.
His favorite spot to cause a scene.
Um.
Usually drunk too.
So yeah, so the paper was just a mess all over the place. Fletcher quit last time we watched, I think, because when we see him this week, he's home, apparently trying to write a novel, but he has writer's
Great
block.
American Novel.
Yeah. And Nick is there, and he's just like, it's funny how as a reporter, like, it's just so loud and busy. He's like, but you kind of get used to it. He's like, and now that you don't have like that noise going around in the newsroom, he's like, you have like a writer's block because you miss it. He's like, I'm fine. He's like, I'm just taking a break. I don't miss it. I'm fine. The paper's like crazy. Everybody wants to know where Fletcher is. Holly says that he quit, and so now everybody's flipping out. It was a very odd bonding scene between Tangi and Holly where they were laughing, and I was like, you guys hate each other, but this is weird. Even I,
right.
This is weird. Because this guy like had some like editorial notes for it, and she's like, if you want to have notes, she's like, become an editor and deal with like reporters like you. And that was kind of like their bonding moment, Tangi and Holly.
Yeah.
Nick comes and he quits, but not really. I think it's
he
just a ploy to get Fletcher to come back.
quits.
Yeah.
A ploy to get Fletcher back.
But then Holly also quits. Like everybody's quitting, and like it's just a mess.
Yeah, when Nick quit, Tangi was really upset. When Nick quitted, Tangi was really upset about that.
Yeah. Alan Michael comes in and says he's gonna play editor. I'm like, what is happening? I was like, at first I was like, well, why would Alan Michael do that? I didn't know that he had like a stake or he part owned it or whatever.
Yeah, he's the young part owner.
Apparently he used to work there. He's like, I picked up a few things. He's like, I know what I could, basically fake it till I make it. So they almost have like a journalism like intervention. They all go to Fletcher's and like trying like being like, I quit, and basically, and he's like, what do you mean you quit? Like he's like, who's gonna run the paper if nobody's there? And Holly's basically like, you love it more than I do. Like I could find something else. Like this is your true passion. And like brings up the writer's block, and he's like, Nick Radigi like told you like what's going on? And she's like, no. And he's like, yes, he did. Ben and Bill are there, and I was laughing at this scene because Holly was asking Ben if his father was really happy, and Bill was like, don't answer that, that's a loaded question. He basically was like, don't get involved in grown folks' business. Because she asked him multiple questions. He's like, don't do it, don't answer it. I'm telling you right now, it's a mess. He's like, you're poking a beehive right now. I really like that because I couldn't tell if that was Bill because we haven't seen Bill in a little bit, and I was like, is that the same actor? I wasn't really sure. Plus, pixelation.
Yeah.
But Fletcher ends up going back to the paper. Holly has quit. So I don't know what she's gonna do. Has Holly had other careers besides the paper?
What's the not radio station, the TV? I think she worked at the TV station too.
With Roger?
I remember it being after post Roger for some reason.
Oh, okay.
So I remember like she was at they mentioned, what is it, WSPR, I think is what it's called.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah. Where Jilly and them work, yeah.
So Ed and Eve come over to Blake and Ross's house for dinner.
Oh, can I interject 1 minute for 1 minute? So there was a part with Alan Michael, and it kind of weaves into like the Alan Michael neighing of the horse and Lucy
okay.
He's basically sitting down with the people at the newspaper. Basically he's like, and this is not what he says. This is just me making a joke. And I got this from the Star Confidential. He's like, look at here, no fucking. So like the crew, and he's like, he said this 3 times. Because I guess he knows that Fletcher and Holly were a thing
Mm-hmm.
at basically his office. At their office, basically Alan Michaels' office, he owns the place, so
Okay.
like, this causes a lot of stress, a lot of stuff, but we'll get to that later because it involves Lucy and Alan Michael.
I feel like Holly said something about, I'm not gonna let a 15 minutes of pleasure or whatever it was like ruin your career or something like that. A 15-minute mistake. Yeah, we'll talk about like the Spalding, Alan Michael, Brett, Lucy thing separate, but
Brett is nay.
I really don't know why you're naying, and like I can't even fathom to like start guessing why.
Because it's like it's from Young Frankenstein. Like whenever they mention this one character's name and he's a horrible character, like there's a neighing of a horse.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay, so Ed and Eve are at Blake and Ross's for dinner. The men say that they're gonna cook. They end up making tuna melts. There seems to be like a little bit of awkwardness between Eve and Blake. Why? Were they not friends at one point?
I don't know because I barely know the character of Eve.
Okay.
So
maybe that's why. Maybe they just don't know each other, so it's a little awkward. Because I felt like Eve was a little bit like, so how's motherhood? Like with Diana being like the stepdaughter. And then we see after dinner, the guys are cleaning up, and Eve's not really feeling well, and she barely ate her dinner. And I'm like, okay, well, whenever a woman's sick on a soap opera, she's pregnant.
Yeah.
And she says she suspects maybe she might be pregnant, but don't say anything to Ed. But then, at the hospital, Eve has a pregnancy test, and she gets, I think, caught by Lillian with the pregnancy test. And they're talking, and then Bridget hears. So Ed and Eve had decided to elope.
Yeah.
Which I think makes her happy because she might be pregnant. So she's like, okay, at least I'll be married, and then I can tell them I'm pregnant. I don't know.
Yeah. I wonder if they do get married, because I don't remember if they do get married or not. Remember Eve's off the show shortly in this. I remember Eve is off the show this year, maybe next year.
So Bridget's a Bauer?
Bridget's not a Bauer. Remember, Ed was married to Maureen, who was a Reardon. So that's how they're in-laws.
Oh, okay. Because she had a comment where she was like, "You're eloping with my uncle," and I was like, "You're a Bauer?" Like, what?
So yeah. So remember, they're uncle-in-law. So uncle-in-law.
Okay.
So it'll be an in-law. So I guess because they're so close,
she still looks at him as her uncle.
Yeah, she just looks at him as an uncle. So.
Okay. Yeah, I was confused. I was like, I have to ask her out because I do not know this family tree.
Yeah, because it's like it'll be like if I don't know, like if my aunt got married to an uncle.
Well, it's like Brady on Days. He calls Marlene a mom. That's not his biological mother, but she raised him. So yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. I mean, I had friend, like my family was really close to a family that lived across the street, and we just the kids, we called each other cousins. So like in school, I'd be like, "Oh, that's my cousin." Like we weren't blood related.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so that just threw me because I was like, "Wait, she's a Bauer? How's that?"
Yeah, she's not really a Bauer. She's a Reardon, and Maureen's a Reardon. That's how. Yeah, so.
So this was the scene that was kind of mixed up with like Alexandra talking to Lillian about making sure she has her like mastectomy or her checkup. But Bridget kind of huddles with Alexandra and Lillian, I guess, because she's planning like this
A
reception where
shower.
everybody's to be at the elopement.
It's a bridal shower.
Oh, it's a bridal shower.
I have my headphones in. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe she was just they were eloping and she was secretly planning a wedding, like to surprise
Yeah.
them. Like,
Either was a. So I think it's a bridal shower. So
hmm,
I
okay.
think I heard bridal shower.
I didn't hear anything. I thought it was just like a silent, like we don't know the plan. We're just
Mm.
gonna see it unfold. But again, that was another scene because I'm like, I don't imagine Alexandra talking with someone like Bridget, and I'm just like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, Alexandra's kind of down to earth. I like her.
I like her too. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how Beverly McKinsey played her.
So I feel like they're the same. I feel like it's the same. It's when Joan Collins takes over, they kind of make her a little bit more snooty, and then when Morris Hussein came back, they immediately brought her back down there. Because she's with Alan, like her brother's Alan, so like they're like kind of down to earth. So
yeah. Oh, Alan is
less
I
so.
feel like Alan could be a little
Less,
pretentious.
Alan's pretentious, definitely.
I guess we could talk about Brett now. So not much really happened. He was just kind of flirty with Lucy, and Alan Michael keeps like walking in on these moments and he's not happy. He's super jealous.
First of all, I want to talk about the fact that they were like, okay, I got these boxes I need to put into the supply closet. Let's go in there and put the boxes in the supply closet. And put the boxes in the supply closet or make out. They should have at least closed the door some more.
Right, because Alan Michael sees that right away immediately.
He sees that, yeah, doors wide open there, and everything like that. So, like, come on.
And he like scolds them, and Brett goes running into his office, and basically is like, if I have to choose between like love and like the business, I'm gonna pick the business. And Lucy like hears that, but meanwhile, he had literally said totally the opposite, like 5 seconds before to her in the closet.
But then also, and this is like a hint of things to come. Brett said that Lucy initiated it, which I don't think that's the way it happened.
Mm-mm.
That's not the way it happened. He was basically like throwing Lucy under the bus just for his needs. So let's put a pin in that right now. Let's put a pin in that in his behavior.
And then Alan Michael makes Lucy take a note, and he's basically writing like a no fraternization, or he's like, and if there's any sexual harassment, come to management, pretty much. And he's like, okay, type that up. And at first he says you, I mean they. So she's like, all right. I think that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much
just 3 episodes.
It's 3 episodes. I gotta go back to that fantasy. I really love that fantasy that Roger had. That was up close. It was up close. I had to rewind it a few times.
Oh, again, it was like they did something. There was like Roger is basically still investigating everything about Fletcher, because he's still, even though he's pretending to be low key, he's like trying to mess with them somehow, find something that he could use. I think that's how it ended, because he was like meeting with somebody.
Yeah, that's how it ended, because he had because the guy had a folder with Roger, like for Roger, and they said like, oh, like, and this really happened. His Ben's maternal grandmother, fought for custody of Ben when his mom died.
Yeah, I think I remember you mentioning that briefly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was it. Did I forget anything else you wanted to mention?
Nope, there wasn't. Yeah, I mean, like the following characters were here: Lady Frank.
Yeah, I was waiting because I kind of want to get to know this recast a little bit better for Eleni, because I was so jarred, even though I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Not before we wrap this up. I haven't seen a lot of Another World. I really haven't been able to get into it. But for the podcast, we watched the primetime special, I think that aired in 92.
Was
And
it Desire? I forgot something Desire.
so I don't remember. Maybe that may have been it.
Yeah, I forgot the title of it. Yeah.
And I really liked that. So I was like, oh, maybe I like 1992 Another World. I don't know.
Summer
But
Desire, something like that.
there is a character who had really curly hair, like the original actress that played Elaine. I can never say her name correctly. That's why I'm not even attempting to.
Melina Canacredes.
Yes. And I always thought that was her. And I always
that might have been
and it's not her.
That might have been Allie from Another World. No, I'm sorry, Allie from.
She was paired with Ricky Paul Golden.
Jenna. She was Ricky Paul Golden. Yep.
Yeah. Which I was shocked to see Ricky Paul Golden on there, because from the soap mags and like when I got into soap opera, I always just associated him with Guiding Light as Gus. So I just thought he was always on Guiding Light. I didn't know he like was on other things.
Yeah, he started out in Another World.
I didn't know that.
He was a family member of he was related to Frankie? Yes, Dean Frame, but I forgot how to relate it. They're like cousins or something like that. I don't know.
He was like a musician on Another World, I think.
Yeah, he was a musician. Yep.
Is that how they wrote him off? He like went on tour or something?
Yeah, that's basically what happened.
Typical.
But hey, look, if you're a Michael Damian.
Also, side note, just found out, because Brian Gaskell's been tweeting a lot lately, reminiscing about his past work. So he went on Wikipedia. Didn't know he was on Bold and the Beautiful. He played Oscar Maroney, like right after Port Charles.
Right after Port Charles, yeah, he didn't last that long.
And then I remembered, because this was a few years ago that I found this out. I was watching when the actor that played Luke during the gay storyline, like that played him to the end pretty much, came on, because it was Kim Zimmer's son that played Luke originally. So I wanted to see the recast. Brian Gaskell was on As the World Turns. Didn't know that either.
I forgot that. Wow.
He was bad on As the World Turns. He was a villain.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, good. Because
yeah.
Since the Bay, he could only play villains he can only play villains or complicated characters.
I saw you tweet that.
Because he was that good on the Bay as a villain.
Was his character
Dynamite too?
I haven't watched him on YNR. Excuse me. Was he a villain on YNR?
He was a complicated character that teams up with Jordan.
Okay.
Do I need to? Are you gonna watch YNR?
No.
Are you gonna watch this episode?
No.
Oh, so yeah. So basically, Jordan pushes him in front of an oncoming car, and that's the end of him.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Who shared it? Alan Locker shared it. He shared this final scene.
Huh. So I guess Jordan's like a Sheila character now, huh?
She is, yeah, basically. Just see the pictures of her dressed up like a guy.
I've seen the pictures, yeah.
Yeah, then she served vodka to Nikki.
Oh my god.
She like had a waiter serve vodka to Nikki. So and then Brian Gaskell's also in Guiding Light too. He played a recast Dylan, but that's not down. That's down the line.
I did find that out yesterday when I was on his Wikipedia. I was like, wow, he really made the rounds. And then last night he tweeted he was in Jersey City. I was like, oh, is he East Coast? Like, is he based on the East Coast? Like, I don't know if he was just visiting Jersey City or if he lives over here. Like, but all right, we're going on tangents. I'll wrap this up.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us for another edition of Guiding Light. We'll be back next week with another week's worth of episodes. As always, you can find us on all the socials at Queers and Soaps. And until next time, have a great day. Bye.
Bye.